Hello everyone, my name is Jonathan Martinez and today I will talk about intergenerational mobility patterns for schooling, occupation and household wealth, the case of Mexico. So first of all, what is intergenerational social mobility? Basically, it's the movement of individuals or group of individuals up or down the socioeconomic scale across generations. Measurements of these movements provide information on how the society is changing over the time. What is the main objective of this paper? Is focus on social mobility that allow us to identify how opportunities are distributed in Mexico and how different groups of the population access them. It is also possible to establish the relationship between social mobility and inequality in people's life outcomes. Then we have the data and methodology. So this paper presents estimates of intergenerational schooling, occupational, and household wealth mobility for Mexico using the MOVI 2011, a national representative survey with retrospective questions that capture adults, children, and parental information on schooling, employment, and assets for a sample of men and women between 25 and 74 years old. Basically, the methodology were tables and graphs that contains information on respondents' sociodemographic characteristics, school employment, income, and household holdings. A total of 11,001 individuals were interviewed, 4,099 women, and 6,011 men. Then, what other authors talk about this topic? We have Marcelo de la Llara and Dositeo Graña with the intergenerational social mobility in Mexico and its region. So basically, this paper presents estimates of international social mobility in wealth, education, and occupational status for the case of Mexico at the national level, and if you see, is by region. These results allow evaluating the region of Mexico in terms of their places in the relation between social mobility, economic growth, and inequality. And then we have the occupational and income intergenerational mobility in Brazil from Carlos Antonio Costa Ribeiro. This article presents the historical trends in intergenerational income mobility in Brazil, based on analysis of two age cohorts. And basically, it shows how the intergenerational mobility is increasing in Brazil in terms of social class, occupational status, income, or education. But the analysis shows that the increase was more pronounced for income mobility than for occupational status mobility. But if you take a look at the analysis, the difference can be explained by the fact that income is a more volatile indicator of the socioeconomic conditions than occupation. So, what is the difference on this paper? The vulnerable groups. One of the contributions for this paper that I look at it was the vulnerable groups. And I'm not talking about individuals who were raised in rural areas and women. I look at the indigenous people that on the research that I do about this topic, I couldn't find a paper that gives the importance of indigenous people in a general view like this does. So the main results. Individuals have experienced absolute upward schooling mobility over the years. Children have at least 4 grades of schooling more than their fathers. Intergenerational relative schooling mobility at the median increased steadily over the years. But we don't have to sit out there for that. Now is when I ask you, how many Mexicans are not reaching their potential? How much talent is being wasted? Strive and not progress, have talent and not be able to exploit it, be determined by origin and not by merit? The failure of a person to fulfill his potential to external reason is nothing less than a tragedy. And yeah, this is called lack of social mobility in Mexico. And actually, I look for a solution for this. And I think it's effectively combining The obstacles that limit the social mobility of the Mexican populations require effective governance instruments, including those that aim at eliminating corruption practices. And I think one of the main problems is the territory and environment. We have to address territorial and environment inequalities that contribute to unequal opportunities that limit social mobility, encourage the quality and relevance of education. When I'm talking about sustainably increased educational offer for the middle and higher levels, adopt measures so that young people do not abandon it. Although one of the main causes that affects the permanence in education is the lack of economic resources. This is accompanied by the complications that young people face in learning because they accumulate deficiencies from the basic education levels. And friend, I think one of the main problems is education. Education should be one of the main engines of social mobility, as it empowers people to make better decisions about their lives and thus achieve higher levels of well being. The possibilities of people to enter the labor market and obtain wages for a more comfortable life will depend, to a large extent, on educational achievement and the quality of training. In Mexico, despite the constant growth of the educational offer, there are still significant disparities. Much of the Mexican population is not in a position to achieve the highest education levels, since the circumstances of origin have a very important weight on education of the younger generations. In particular, the problem is accentuated at the preparatory and university levels. Thank you for your attention.